Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Adam McKola TV. I am Adam. This is the preview for Manchester United's trip to Newcastle, a trip to St James's Park, a trip where Manchester United need to win. Comes on the back of the international break where, for our captain, it hasn't been a great one, but a few of our players did have a decent time out for their countries, and they come back to Old Trafford. Well, they come back to Manchester United looking to set things straight after two defeats from 3 Premier League games already in this season. Manchester United need to bounce back, and you hate to call games must win because, like Jay said earlier when we had a little chat on the preview for Stretford Paddock, whenever you do say must win and United don't win, very rarely anything happens. But you do feel like this is a must win, especially for our aspirations in the league. I know teams are going to drop an awful lot of points this season. There's going to be more points dropped than there usually are, I think, in this season. But we can't be dropping any more points. We need to get 3 points, get 6 points out of 12. Still not ideal, but it will be a better than we would have hoped with the form that we've been in. And we need a performance as well in this game, don't we? We definitely need a performance. So a huge game for Manchester United at St James's Park. It's obviously live on Sky pay-per-view, and that has drawn a lot of criticism as well from football fans around the world as well, with obviously people talking about it being a ridiculous £15 price for fans who already pay a ridiculous amount of money for Sky, BT, Amazon Prime, if you want to watch all the football here in the UK anyway. And then if you go to games as well, you'll have tickets for your games, maybe even a season ticket, and the price of games is even more. And to then add potentially £15 for other games that aren't televised, it's ridiculous. Now, you could say, well, if you can't afford it, don't buy it, and that's fair enough. But football fans, it's not that easy. It's not like watching a movie. Football fans are attached to their clubs. Football fans are the lifeblood of their clubs. And without the fans, you don't have the clubs. Obviously, without Manchester United's success, we wouldn't be as big as we are. And we wouldn't have been, as financially successful as we have been. But at the same time, without the fans and without the supporter base, United don't get those commercial deals. United don't get the TV money. United don't get this, that, and the other. So the fans are vitally important, not only just morally from a moral standpoint with football teams and the way football teams are built, but also from a business point of view. And to then just milk even more money out of them, I think it's a little bit of a disgrace. But there you go. 15 quid is going to be charged for this game on pay-per-view. Ridiculous amount, and I wouldn't be surprised if many opted to find it elsewhere because it's just a crazy price, isn't it? So we've obviously got that backdrop to the game, but back to the football and Manchester United, we really do need to win. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been speaking in his press conference ahead of this game. Let's get some of those quotes up. Ahead of the game, he's spoken about a lot of things, spoken about Marcus Rashford and his MBE, and he said, we're extremely proud once again that Marcus gets these recognitions. I'm sure his family and Marcus himself, they must have enjoyed that. For me, as his manager, I know how great he is as a person and how much he cares for others. Extremely proud, and I want him to carry on doing his job on and off the pitch. And what I love about Marcus Rashford getting that MBE as well, those that gave him the MBE or nominated him for the MBE probably would have thought that would have shut him up, made him go quiet, but he's pushing even harder as well. And I absolutely adore what Marcus Rashford is doing. Ridiculous that some people find the energy to criticise someone's good deeds off the pitch, especially when footballers get criticised for doing things that are maybe more self-serving. For him to do something that's not so self-serving is great. We then had Ollie talking about the Spurs defeat and the players calling the Spurs defeat embarrassing. They said, I know it's only 3 Premier League games into the season, but what would you say to fans who are concerned? And he said, of course, we know we have started the season badly, and that game ended really badly. We started well, but after the sending off with 10 men, we couldn't hold on or get back to getting a result. When we got the 3-1 just after the sending off, I think that was when the extra hope maybe went. We know we have to perform better, but then again, we've now had 2 weeks to think about it, work on it. The ones who were here in the group and the others that went to the international, they've had both positive and negative experiences. Now, I fully expect a reaction from United team against Newcastle, and we definitely need a reaction, but we also need a reaction from the manager, not just from the players as well. And I thought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was incredibly naive at 3-1 with the way that we played. Now, I don't mind if you keep attacking, but it wasn't the way that we were attacking that was causing us problems. It's the way we were defending and trying to defend from the front. Now, I understand at 11 against 11, trying to press from the front, trying to have that high energy, trying to win the ball back early. It totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. And it's kind of opposite to what we've been doing previously under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When he first came in the early days, we were very much a counter-attacking side. Now we're trying to win the ball much higher up the pitch. But we kept trying to do that, even with 10 men. And it left such gaping holes in the team. It was ridiculous to see. And we got punished for it. The likes of Harry Kane, Son, they're not going to mess about when you're leaving them that much space. And I thought it was incredibly naive. And we need the manager to spot these things earlier on the pitch. I think he's done a lot of good for Manchester United in his time here. And I think people forget the good that he has done, especially last season. The run that we went on from January to the end of the campaign. We didn't lose a league game. We went on an incredible run. We had those 2 defeats in the semi-finals, but it was a great end to the season. I was excited to watch United every game. And after the last 3 Premier League games, which have been pretty bad, been abysmal, let's be honest, people have almost forgotten that. Now, it shows you the ruthless nature of football, and it shows you how cutthroat it is. But I think it's a little bit unfair that people have forgotten that. But at the same time, one of the flaws that Ole has had, I feel, has been his inability to change the game quick enough, or maybe spot things that need to be changed sometimes. Substitutions coming too late, or just tactical things where you think that needs to change and we don't change it and we get punished. Against Brighton, it was clear at one point. I know we won it in the end, but they were getting 6-7 opportunities coming down their left-hand side, down where Aaron Wan-Bissaka was. And it probably seemed an ideal time to maybe shift to a back 3 with 2 wing-backs, or I don't know. You know what? I'm not a manager, but it seemed like we needed to change something, and we didn't. And they kept hitting the bar, they kept getting chances, and you need to just change them. You need to see those things and change it. We then went on, and he said the question was, obviously pressure and scrutiny comes, and the players, on the manager and the players after a big loss like that. How have you found it, and what's the reaction been? He said, we've been in touch with the ones that have been away. It's one of those things that you have to get over as soon as you can and move on. We know any little chance from outside, you want to create a division. I think Bruno spoke really well the other day about we are United, we have to stay together, we can't listen to everyone outside. We've just got to get on with it. Bruno has now lost 2 league games since he came to the club in February, but it's been 2 in quick succession. He's not used to losing league games for us. Now it's Bruno, welcome to Man United. This is what happens when we lose a couple. They're going to try to create a division between us, but that's not going to happen because this group is a group that wants to work hard together and stick together. And it was good to see some of the clips coming out from training where the players looked in good spirits and they looked to be a good team spirit there. Now, you can't tell much from little clips that are coming out, but the players did look like, they're mean business and they're in good spirits ahead of this game. David with the super chat says, worry for Ole if it's not 3 points. It is cutthroat, and it is, and we've got some very difficult games coming up as well. He was asked about the transfer window, and he said, I wonder what your reflection are on the incomings and when we might see Cavani, Telles and Pellistri. He said, we look forward to integrating them into the group. Facundo has been training with us now for 2 days. Very exciting, young, enthusiastic player with some attributes that we don't have. He's more for the future, maybe not just for now because he's still 18. Whereas Alex Telles came in yesterday, did his recovery after a long flight from Sao Paulo, having come on twice for Brazil. So we're looking forward to integrating him. Edinson has still not been with the group because of his quarantine. All 3 of them have got something different to what we have, and they'll definitely come in and help us. I think the group as well are looking forward to them joining in. So it looks like if anybody we're going to see, it will potentially be Alex Telles. Now, we're going to have my predicted team later. I'm going to shock you and say Alex Telles is in it, but it looks like that may be incorrect already. So Alex Telles, he obviously arrived late from South America, and he's been doing his recovery, or maybe Ollie's just playing a little game. He was asked about the big picture proposal. Fans have talked about a need for reform. Clearly, smaller clubs are struggling. What are your thoughts as manager of Man United? Well, it's a definite that we, as one of the bigger clubs, we have a responsibility to protect the football pyramid or the smaller clubs. I think we've seen lately the effects this pandemic has had on many small clubs. For me, you said the fans, that's a key thing for me. We want them back in stadiums, which will help the other clubs. I'm just very glad that we're looking into it and trying to help, and the talks have started. Let's make the powers that be decide how we're going to do that. He was then asked about Harry Maguire and his view on how you handle your captain, and he said, football is very, very... And then he went on to say, you're in the limelight all the time. When Harry is part of the England team, that beats number 1 ranked Belgium. That's a normal day. And then you get the headlines when you get the sending off. That's football for you. Ups and downs, and we've got to deal with it individually and as a group. Harry's got resilience. I know he'll bounce back. I know he wants to play. He wants to work his way out of the last couple of games that he's been criticised for. He picked up a knock against Denmark just before he came off. I'm hopeful he'll be fit. We had a look at him yesterday, and we'll give him a test again today. Interesting there that he said he's picked up a knock. Now, I never seen it during the game. Obviously, he could have picked up a knock. But I think that's kind of planting the seed that he may give Harry Maguire a rest. He played every single league game last year. I don't think it's a problem if we give him a rest. I actually think it would be more beneficial to give him a rest and maybe go with Lindelof and Bailly in that defence if we go with 2 at the back. He was asked about Paul Pogba's comments, and he said, Paul's our player and he's going to be here for at least another 2 years. I'm sure Paul is focused on doing his best for us, and we want to see the best of Paul, so in the next couple of years we'll get the best out of him. After the Spurs game, what kind of reaction do you demand and want to see from your players? And he said, we need a response, as we always do. After you lose a game, you want to win the next one. That's the response. We want to go up there, dominate and control. The result is, of course, very important, but I want to see the body language and our mindset as being positive again, because you don't get anywhere being negative. We're going out for the win. So that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's comments ahead of this game. Huge game for Manchester United already. Newcastle have been in up and down form, massively up and down form. We look at them. They got a point at Spurs. Got battered at home by Brighton. Let me just bring up their... Sitting ahead of us in the table, but they played a game more and got 4 points more. Oh, God. They beat Burnley at home 3-1. They drew with Tottenham. They lost against Brighton. And they beat West Ham on the opening day of the season. So they've had mixed form, but doing pretty well for them. 7 points out of their opening 12. I don't think you can complain with that. Obviously got a lot of players that can cause us problems. Callum Wilson is going to be their biggest goal threat. But you've also got Saint-Maximin. You've also got Almiron. Andy Carroll, aerial presence that can cause us problems. And that's why I think Eric Bailly is important for this game. He's played a lot of football for Ivory Coast, which is good to see. He came off with what looked like cramp in one of the games. We all thought it was a hamstring injury first, but then after that, he played against Japan in a 1-0 defeat for Ivory Coast. But he played 90 minutes in that game, and by some accounts, he played well. So I'd like to see Eric Bailly in the team. I think his ability to deal with players in the air, deal with that physical presence, not really get bullied. Callum Wilson's a handful in terms of feeling the defenders, turning inside, looking to get the passes in between the lines. Callum Wilson will cause problems for Manchester United, and I think Eric Bailly can deal with that well. And I'd give Harry Maguire the day off. Look, doesn't matter who the opponent is. I think just from a human perspective, from a footballing perspective, I think it's best to give him time off. Give him this game off. If he comes back in against PSG, fine. I'd give him the week off, though, to be honest with you. Hasn't gone well for him. The summer was a nightmare for him, dealing with them issues in Greece. And you obviously had the bad end to the season for him personally in poor form. And then for United, at the start of the campaign, it hasn't gone well, or for England. I would seriously give him the day off. I don't see anything that we gain from playing him, to be totally honest with you. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Should Harry Maguire play this game for Manchester United? Let us know in them comments below. Many players wants to see Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Lindelof, Shaw, Telles, Fernandes, Fred, Van der Beek, Greenwood and Rashford in the team, I think. They look sharp in training, says Darcy, who's seen the same clips that I have seen. Saint-Maximin is their key man, says Ross. My score prediction is 2-1 win on a good day, 1-0 defeat on a bad day, says Dragon. And our form against Newcastle has been very, very hit and miss. I'll be on the watch along for Stretford Paddock, so make sure you're joining us for that. And we'll also have fan cams up after the game as well. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Manchester United win. Adam says, smart move, Harry being injured, needs a reset or rest. But he could work with both words, to be totally honest with you. Yeah, Darcy, but when it happens, when they're on the pitch... Wait, what we're talking about here? Yeah, you talked about the training. Anyway, let's move on to that predicted 11 ahead of this game. And here is my predicted 11 ahead of the match. I've gone with David De Gea in goal. If you've seen the video that I did earlier in the week, I maybe suggested that we go with a back three. But if Harry Maguire's injured, I'll go with that. It looks like Telles isn't going to start, so we'll probably see Luke Shaw come in there. But I'd go with David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Bailly, Telles or Shaw, Van der Beek, Pogba, Fernandes, Mata, Rashford and Greenwood. Now, Mata may be a surprising one, to be totally honest with some of you. But I think he deserves a start. Other alternatives on that right side, you play Greenwood, play Garlo up top, play Daniel James, play Jesse Lingard. I'd go with Juan Mata though. I think Juan Mata is someone that will keep the ball well. He links up well with Van der Beek and Fernandes. I think having that Van der Beek, Pogba, Fernandes, Mata, Rashford, I think will create enough chances for Mason Greenwood and or Rashford, and I think we create enough opportunities. Some would maybe be concerned with the lack of a defensive-minded midfielder in there. Beyond Matic, we don't really have one. We obviously have McTominay and Fred, and they are probably defensively more suited, but I just think we've got to get on the ball and keep the ball. And I think Van der Beek was someone that did that. We know he can occupy those positions from deep in the field. Pogba can do that as well. And if you have two intelligent midfielders that can keep possession, I think you can get through that game quite well. Now, as we see, Telles probably isn't going to start, and we'll probably see Luke Shaw. So that will leave us a little bit more defensively sound. But I'd definitely go, like I Am King says, who's CDM? We don't play with an out-and-out CDM. We always play a 4-2-3-1 with two deep-lying players. Obviously, Nemanja Matic is a defensive-minded player, and he's going to sit there and he's going to hold. But we don't play with out-and-out central defensive midfielders, like in a pivot. And I think Matic might be saved for PSG, if anything. Because we've got that game coming up against PSG on Tuesday. So you've got to take into consideration as well that. CJ Desi says, when would you bring Pellistri into the first team? It depends obviously how he gets on in training, how he reacts to training with the players, training with the first team. But I hope to see him on the bench and that kind of thing soon. Maybe get him a few minutes in like the next month or so. But let's see what happens, because obviously depends on how he reacts in training and everything else as well. Pogba in CDM, he's not playing like an out-and-out central defensive midfielder. It's 2 6s, yes. But Van der Beek and Pogba can both play 6. (3-5-2) could be more effective, says Jamie. You could definitely see something like that happening. Maybe Luke Shaw coming in a 3 centre halves. Play Brandon Williams and Wan-Bissaka, or or Telles and Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, from the comments that Ollie has made, I feel like Telles isn't going to start now. McTominay or McSauce played well for Scotland, says Callum D. He did play well. He did play well. He did. But yeah, that's my team anyway. And there you go. Let us know your teams in the comments below. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Vincent says, any news on Mark Jurado? He's not a player for the first team, is he, at the moment? He's a player for the under 23s. So I doubt we'll see him involved with the first team anytime soon. Manny plays, says Matt, I loves playing at St James's Park, which is true. He does indeed. It'd be good to see him get a good run out. Last time we won there, Lukaku and Rashford scored in a 2-0 win. And that was when Ollie was at the wheel. So yeah. A 4-2-3-1 literally has 2 6s in it. Obviously, they probably played a more 8 role, and one of them will be more advanced and push forward. It's not always going to be as flat. So I get what you're saying in regards to they're not going to both play 6. They're not going to both just sit there now. But they're both intelligent footballers. Callum D says we'll win. I'm not sure what the score will be. To be totally honest with you, if I had to do a prediction, I'd go 2-1 to Manchester United. 3 points. Happy days. Fingers crossed. Make sure you're watching the watch along tomorrow on Stretford Paddock. The link's in the description below. Make sure you're joining us back here as well. We'll have a reaction to the game, hopefully to a Manchester United win. Keep your thoughts coming in as well. Make sure you're keeping it locked. And for now, I am going to get out of here. Thank you for watching. See you later.